She covered herself in shame. After his slip altered her alien body. The night was quiet inside the alien colony's research chamber. The air smelled faintly of metal and strange herbs that glowed faint blue in glass jars. Daniel, a young human researcher, walked slowly around the room. His hands shook as he held a strange device, something he had been told never to test without permission. But curiosity had always been his weakness. Beside him stood Lyra, the alien girl. She was different from the others, quiet, soft-spoken, and always nervous when eyes were on her. Her skin shimmered faint silver under the room's light, and her long, dark hair framed her glowing, violet eyes. Lyra trusted Daniel more than anyone, but tonight that trust would be tested. "Are you sure this is safe?" she asked softly, her voice almost a whisper. Daniel gave a quick smile to calm her. "It's only a test, nothing dangerous. I just need to know how it works." The device pulsed with faint energy, glowing brighter the longer Daniel held it. According to his notes, it was meant for healing wounds, but as he looked at its strange symbols, doubt grew inside him. The alien script was hard to understand. One wrong touch could trigger something unknown. Still, he pressed forward. Lyra shifted uncomfortably. She pulled her cloak tighter around herself, as if she could already sense something about to go wrong. Her instincts were sharper than his, but Daniel was too curious to stop. He raised the device, pointed it gently toward her arm, and activated it. A low hum filled the room. Blue light spread from the device like a ripple across water. At first, it looked harmless. The glow touched Lyra's skin, making it shine more brightly. She gasped in surprise, her eyes wide. "Do you feel anything?" Daniel asked. Lyra nodded, clutching her chest. "Strange, like warmth, moving inside me." Daniel stepped closer, worried yet fascinated. He had expected only a small flash, maybe a little light. Instead, the device kept pouring energy into her. The glow spread across her whole body, wrapping her in a shell of radiance. "Wait, this is too much," Daniel muttered, trying to shut it down. He pressed buttons quickly, but the light only grew stronger. The humming turned into a loud vibration. Something inside the machine cracked. Lyra gasped again, louder this time, her hands flying to cover herself as if something inside her was changing. Her cheeks flushed deep red, glowing almost as brightly as the energy itself. She turned her face away from Daniel, trembling. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. Daniel's heart pounded. He tried again to stop the machine, hitting every switch he could. Finally, the glow dimmed and the device went silent. The room returned to darkness, broken only by the faint glow of the jars around them. But Lyra was not the same. She stood frozen, her hands still covering herself, her eyes wide with shame. Her body felt different, altered in a way Daniel could not understand. She refused to meet his gaze, her shoulders shaking with every breath. Daniel reached out, guilt heavy in his chest. "Lyra, I'm sorry. I didn't mean—" "Don't," she interrupted sharply, though her voice still trembled. "Don't look at me." She turned away, pressing herself against the wall as though she could hide from his sight. Her hair fell across her face, but Daniel could still see the red burning on her cheeks. Daniel took a step back, fear twisting in his stomach. He hadn't just made a mistake. He had done something forbidden, something that changed her in a way neither of them could explain. He wanted to speak, to ask what she was feeling, but she shook her head quickly. "You shouldn't have done this," she said softly, her voice breaking. "If anyone finds out, they'll never forgive. You or me." Her words filled the room with a cold weight. Daniel realized now that this was not just an accident. It was the beginning of something dangerous. Lyra clutched her cloak tightly around her altered body. Shame, fear, and something deeper filled her eyes. She had trusted him, and he had betrayed that trust. Yet, in the middle of her trembling, there was another emotion she tried to hide, an emotion that made her cheeks burn hotter, her breaths uneven. Daniel's hands shook as he set the device on the table. He didn't dare touch it again. His mistake had already gone too far. Silence stretched between them, heavy and painful. The humming echo of the device still rang in Daniel's ears. He knew this was only the beginning. Something had changed inside Lyra forever, and he had no way to reverse it. Outside the research chamber, voices of other aliens drifted through the halls. If they saw her like this, if they noticed her shame and the strange glow still faintly on her skin, they would start asking questions, and questions would bring danger. Daniel looked at Lyra, still turned away from him, still covering herself. He whispered, "No one has to know. I'll protect you." But even as he said it, he wasn't sure he could. The first accident had already begun to pull them both into a secret far bigger than either of them imagined. And somewhere deep inside, Lyra knew her life would never be the same again. If you are enjoying this story so far, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss what happens next in Lyra and Daniel's journey. The chamber was silent, but the silence felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Daniel stood frozen, his eyes on Lyra. She had turned her back to him, pressing herself against the cold wall, her cloak pulled tightly around her trembling form. The glow from the strange device had faded, but its effect had not. Daniel could see it, small, faint lines of light still pulsing under her skin. They moved like rivers of energy, glowing so deftly, as though the machine had awakened something inside her body. "Lyra," Daniel whispered, his voice shaking. Are you all right?" She didn't answer. She only clutched herself tighter, her long dark hair hiding her face. Her silence cut deeper than anger. It was the silence of someone who feared the truth. Finally, she whispered, her voice almost breaking, "I can feel it moving, inside me. It won't stop." Daniel stepped closer, his chest tight. He wanted to help, but he didn't know how. The alien script on the device had been unclear. He had thought it was a healer, a harmless experiment. Now he realized it might have been something else, something forbidden. "Show me," he begged softly. Lyra shook her head quickly. "No, I can't. You don't understand. If anyone sees, they'll know what you've done. They'll know what I've become." Her words chilled Daniel. What had she become? As he watched, Lyra's hands trembled. The glow inside her body spread, moving to her arms, her neck, even the tips of her fingers. She gasped, her breath uneven, and pressed her hands against her chest, as though she could force the light to stop, but it only spread faster. Daniel's heart raced. "Lyra, listen to me. We have to find a way to control this. Just breathe. Don't fight it." But Lyra was already shaking her head, tears building in her glowing eyes. "You don't understand. This change, it's not allowed. No one is supposed to look like this. If they see me—" Her voice broke off, as though even speaking the punishment was too much to bear. Daniel clenched his fists. "Then we'll hide it. I'll help you. No one has to know." But even as he said it, his voice wavered. He could see the way the glow pulsed brighter with every heartbeat. It was only a matter of time before someone noticed. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside the chamber. Lyra froze, her entire body stiff, the sound of voices carried through the door, two aliens laughing, talking about routine checks. Lyra's eyes widened in terror. "They can't see me like this," she whispered. "Please, Daniel, do something." Daniel grabbed her arm gently, guiding her toward the corner of the chamber, away from the door. He threw a cloth over the still glowing device and whispered urgently, "Stay still. Stay quiet." The footsteps grew louder, stopping just outside. For a moment, Daniel thought the door would open, but then the voices faded as the patrol moved on. Lyra let out a trembling breath, her knees weak. She would have collapsed if Daniel hadn't held her steady. But the danger wasn't gone. The glow inside her body was growing brighter, spreading like fire under her skin. It looked almost beautiful, like she carried starlight within her. But Lyra's face showed only shame. She pulled the cloak tighter, covering as much of herself as possible. "I can't hide this forever," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's only getting stronger." Daniel looked at her, his mind racing. He had never felt so helpless. For the first time he realized the true weight of his mistake. This wasn't just an accident. This was a curse. He reached for her hand, his voice firm. "Then we'll find out what it means. There has to be an answer. Somewhere in the archives, somewhere in your people's history, someone must have seen this before." Lyra shook her head, her eyes filled with fear. "No, this was never meant to happen. If they discover it, they will exile me. Maybe even—" She stopped, unable to say the word. Daniel tightened his grip on her hand. "Then I'll stand with you, whatever happens." For a moment, her eyes softened, though her cheeks still burned with shame. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust him again. But the glow under her skin betrayed her, shining brighter, spreading to her face, her chest, her arms. And then it happened. The glow surged like a wave, filling the chamber with blinding light. Daniel shielded his eyes, but he could hear her cry out. The sound was not of pain, but of fear and something else, something she couldn't control. When the light finally dimmed, Daniel's breath caught in his throat. Lyra was standing in the center of the chamber, trembling, her cloak slipping from her shoulders. Her altered form shone faintly with energy. She quickly grabbed the cloak and pulled it around herself again, her cheeks burning brighter than ever. She turned her face away, whispering, "Don't look at me." But Daniel couldn't stop. The accident had changed her, and the change was still spreading. And outside the chamber, in the shadows of the colony halls, someone else had seen the glow. The glow inside Lyra's body slowly faded, leaving her trembling in the shadows of the chamber. Her breathing was shallow, her hands clutching her cloak so tightly that her knuckles turned pale. Daniel stood nearby, his own chest rising and falling fast, his thoughts a storm of fear and guilt. He wanted to comfort her. He wanted to say something, anything that would calm her trembling. But before he could speak, Lyra raised her head just enough for him to see her eyes. They were wet with tears, glowing faintly with that strange new energy. "You don't understand," she whispered, her voice breaking. "This change, it is forbidden. No one in my people must ever show it." Daniel frowned, stepping closer. "Why? What's so dangerous about it?" Her voice shook, but her words came quickly, almost in panic. "Because it means I am no longer like them. It means I have been touched by something unnatural. If they see this, they won't see me as one of their own anymore. They'll call me cursed. They'll cast me out." Her last words hung in the air like a knife. Daniel's stomach twisted. He thought of the voices outside the chamber, the footsteps that had passed only moments earlier. If anyone had seen the burst of light, if anyone suspected what he had done, then Lyra's fate and his was sealed. "No one will find out," Daniel said firmly, though his own fear bled through his voice. "We'll keep it secret, just between us." But Lyra shook her head, her tears slipping down her glowing cheeks. "Secrets never stay hidden. Someone will notice. The energy, it's inside me. I can feel it growing stronger every moment." Daniel swallowed hard. He knew she was right. Already he could see faint traces of the glow returning, pulsing softly beneath her skin like a heartbeat. No cloak could hide it forever. Before he could answer, a faint sound broke the silence, a scrape, like a foot dragging lightly against the floor, just outside the chamber. Both of them froze. Daniel's eyes darted toward the door. He saw nothing, but his instincts screamed that someone was there, listening, watching. His breath caught in his throat. Had someone already discovered them? Lyra's hand flew to her mouth, muffling a gasp. Her whole body stiffened, and she pressed herself deeper into the shadows, as if she could vanish into the wall. The sound faded, but the silence that followed was worse. Whoever had been there had not entered, but they had not left either. Daniel forced himself to stay calm. "We don't know if they heard anything," he whispered, his voice barely audible. But Lyra's eyes told a different story. She knew. She could feel it in her bones. Their secret had already begun to slip into dangerous hands. Finally, after what felt like forever, the hallway outside grew quiet. Whoever had been there was gone. Lyra collapsed into the nearest chair, her hands shaking. She buried her face in them, her voice breaking. "It's over. They'll know. They'll all know." Daniel crouched in front of her, gripping her shoulders. "No. Listen to me. Even if someone saw, they won't understand what they saw. We can still hide this. We just have to be careful." Her eyes lifted to meet his. For a moment, he thought she might believe him. But then she whispered, "Do you even know what you've done? Do you even know what this change means?" Daniel shook his head slowly. "Then tell me." Her lips bled. "Long ago. Our elders spoke of it. A transformation that happens when our kind is exposed to forces beyond our world. They called it the Forbidden Bloom. Those who carried it were hunted. They were destroyed before the bloom could spread." Her words struck Daniel like a blade. "Destroyed?" he repeated, horrified. Lyra nodded, tears streaming down her face. "They fear it will change us all, that it will replace us. If they discover me, they won't just exile me. They'll kill me." Daniel's blood turned cold. He had never felt so powerless. His mistake had not only shamed her, it had placed her life in danger. But before he could speak again, a new sound echoed down the hallway. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. Not the casual walk of patrolling guards, but the sharp, confident steps of someone important. Lyra stiffened instantly. Her body shook, and her eyes went wide with terror. "The council," she whispered. "They must have felt it. They'll be coming here." Daniel's mind raced. They couldn't let anyone in, not now, not while her body was still pulsing faintly with light. He grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the far corner of the chamber. "Hide," he whispered urgently. "I'll handle it." But Lyra shook her head, her grip tightening on his hand. "No. If they question you, they'll know. You can't lie to them. No one lies to the council and survives." The footsteps stopped outside the door. A low voice spoke, muffled through the wall. "Open this chamber, now." Daniel's breath caught. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat louder than the last. Lyra's hand trembled in his. The secret was slipping through their fingers faster than they could hold it. And as the chamber door began to slide open, with a sharp hiss, Daniel realized there was no escape. Their dangerous secret was about to be revealed. The heavy door slid open with a hiss, and two tall figures stepped into the chamber, their dark cloaks dragged against the floor, their faces hidden in shadow. Daniel's heart skipped a beat when he saw the golden insignia on their shoulders, the mark of the council guards. These were not ordinary patrollers. They were the eyes and ears of the rulers of the colony. Lyra's fingers dug into Daniel's arm. She kept her head low, her cloak pulled so tightly around her body that not a hint of the glow was visible. Still, Daniel knew, if the faint light beneath her skin flared even once, it would be over. The taller of the two guards scanned the room slowly, his eyes sharp and searching. His voice came out deep and steady. "We detected a surge of forbidden energy. It came from this chamber. Explain." Daniel forced himself to stay calm. He straightened his back, pretending confidence he did not feel. "It was a mistake. I was studying one of the devices in the archive. I must have triggered something by accident, but it's under control now." The guard's eyes narrowed. "Show us the device." Daniel's throat tightened. He turned slowly, motioning to the table where he had covered the machine with cloth. His hands trembled as he lifted it. It was inactive until tonight. The second guard stepped closer, pulling the cloth away completely. The device's faint blue cracks glimmered under the chamber's light. The guard touched it carefully, then frowned. "This is damaged. You should not have access to it. Who authorized this experiment?" Daniel swallowed hard. He had no real answer. "No one. I took it myself. I thought it might help in my research." The tall guard stepped closer. His voice grew colder. "Forbidden energy is no game, human. If you have awakened something, it could spread. It could corrupt the colony. If we find you are hiding anything." Daniel felt Lyra's hand trembling behind him. He dared not glance at her, not even once. The guard leaned in, his eyes sharp. "We will return. And if the council asks, you will give a full account." He paused, then added, "Do not try to deceive us. The colony whispers louder than you think." With that, both guards turned and left, their heavy cloaks trailing across the floor as the chamber door shut behind them. The silence that followed was deafening. Lyra collapsed onto a bench, her hands pressed to her face. Daniel sat beside her, his chest tight. "They know," she whispered. "Maybe not yet, but soon. Someone saw. Someone felt it. The whispers will spread." Daniel looked at her. "Then we stay ahead of them. We hide it until we find answers. There has to be something in the old records. Something about this forbidden bloom." Lyra shook her head, tears in her eyes. "You don't understand, Daniel. In this colony, secrets are blood. Once someone suspects, it spreads from one voice to another. By tomorrow, half the settlement could be talking." And she was right. By the next day, rumors had already begun. Daniel heard them first in the market square. Two merchants whispered near a stall, casting suspicious glances toward him as he walked past. "A surge of light," one said, "blue as starlight, coming from the research wing." "Some say it was an accident," the other replied, "but accidents don't leave echoes in the ground. The council won't ignore this." Later, in the training yard, Daniel overheard two young warriors murmuring, "The girl, Lyra, she hasn't been seen since last night. Strange, isn't it?" "Strange indeed," the other answered. "She always kept to herself, but now, hiding? Maybe she's part of it." Daniel clenched his fists, forcing himself to keep walking, though every whisper cut like a blade. That evening, when he returned to the hidden chamber where Lyra waited, her face was pale. "They're already speaking about me, aren't they?" she asked, her voice trembling. Daniel hesitated. He didn't want to break her spirit further, but lying would only hurt more. "Yes, they suspect something, but they don't know the truth yet. We still have time." Lyra closed her eyes tightly. "Time for what? To run? To be hunted? Daniel, once the whispers reach the council, they will come for me. They always do." Daniel knelt beside her, gripping her shoulders. "Then we won't let them. We'll find a way. If the bloom is part of you now, then maybe it can be controlled. Maybe it's not a curse, but something else." But even as he said it, doubt gnawed at his heart. Lyra's glow pulsed faintly again, soft light seeping through her cloak. She gasped, pulling the fabric tighter. "It's growing," she whispered. "Stronger every day. I can't hide it much longer." Daniel's mind raced. He remembered the guard's warning. The colony whispers louder than you think. The truth was already spreading like fire, and when fire spreads, it always consumes. Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed against the chamber door. Both of them froze. Daniel's pulse thundered. No one should know they were here. A voice called from outside, low and deliberate. "Lyra, open the door. We need to talk." Her face went pale as snow. She recognized the voice. It was not a guard, not a stranger. It was someone she knew, someone from her own kind. And from the look in her eyes, Daniel understood. This person could destroy them both with a single word. The knock echoed again, sharp and commanding. "Lyra," the voice said, firmer this time, "you cannot hide from me." Daniel and Lyra froze in the dim chamber. Her hands clutched her cloak so tightly the fabric trembled. Daniel leaned close, whispering, "Who is it?" Her lips trembled as she answered, "Serak." Daniel frowned. He had heard the name before, a warrior from her people, one of the young leaders, ambitious and proud. He had always been suspicious of humans in the colony. If he had come here, it could only mean trouble. The door hissed and slid open before either of them could react. A tall figure stepped inside, his cloak dark as midnight, his silver eyes scanning the room like a blade. Serak's gaze fixed on Lyra immediately, narrowing. "So it's true," he said coldly. "I felt the surge. The whispers were not lies." Lyra shook her head, her voice trembling. "Serak, please." "Show me," he interrupted, stepping closer. "Show me what you are hiding." Daniel moved between them, his hands raised. "Enough. She doesn't have to show you anything." Serak's eyes burned with contempt. "Stay out of this, human. You don't belong here. You've always meddled where you shouldn't. And now, because of you, she carries the mark of corruption." Lyra's breath caught, tears filling her eyes. She tried to speak, but Serak's voice thundered again, echoing off the stone walls. "Do you know what happens to those who bloom, Lyra? They are destroyed before the change can spread. Do you want that fate?" She shook her head, clutching her cloak tighter. "No, I never wanted this." Serak's gaze softened for a moment, but only with pity. "Then let me take you to the council. If you go willingly, maybe they will be merciful." Daniel stepped forward, his voice sharp. "Merciful? You mean execution. Don't pretend otherwise." Serak's jaw tightened. Better one life ended than a colony consumed. He took another step closer, his silver eyes glowing faintly. "Now move aside, human." Daniel stood his ground. Fear twisted in his stomach, but he refused to step back. "No, I won't let you take her." For a moment, silence hung heavy between them, broken only by Lyra's trembling breath. Then Serak's eyes shifted, narrowing at the faint glow leaking through the edges of her cloak. He smirked. "There it is. The proof." Lyra gasped and pulled the cloak tighter, but it was too late. Serak had seen. His voice rang with triumph. "You can't hide it anymore. The bloom is inside you, and it's growing." He turned sharply toward the door. "The council must hear of this." "No!" Lyra's cry split the air. For the first time her voice was not soft or trembling. It was sharp, desperate, filled with fire. "Ear." She reached out, her glowing hand catching Serak's wrist. The touch burned faintly, light seeping into his skin. Serak recoiled, his eyes wide with shock. "What have you done?" he hissed, clutching his arm. Daniel stared in disbelief. He had seen the glow before, but this was different. Lyra's power had spread, not only inside her, but into Serak. The faint outline of her glow now shimmered on his skin where she had touched him. Serak's face twisted with horror. This is a plague." He stumbled back toward the door. "You've infected me." Lyra collapsed to her knees, her hands shaking. "I didn't mean to. I can't control it." Daniel rushed to her side, holding her close. His mind raced. If Serak escaped now, he would tell everyone, and worse, he had evidence on his own body. Serak's voice shook with fury. "The council will destroy you both for this. I'll make sure of it." Daniel stood, blocking the door. His voice was low, dangerous. "If you tell them, they'll come for you too. Look at your arm. You're marked now. Do you think they'll spare you?" Serak froze. His silver eyes darted to the glowing mark spreading faintly across his wrist. His breath quickened. For a moment, uncertainty crossed his face. He was proud, ambitious, and ruthless, but he was not ready to die. Lyra whispered through her tears, "Please, don't tell them. If you do, they'll kill us all." The chamber fell silent again, the tension like a blade between them. Serak's chest rose and fell rapidly. His pride battled with fear, with anger, with the shame of being touched by the forbidden bloom. Finally, his voice came out cold. You've doomed us all. But if I fall, you fall first." He turned sharply, his cloak swirling, and stormed out of the chamber. The heavy door slammed shut behind him. Lyra collapsed against Daniel, sobbing quietly. "It's over. He'll tell them. He'll tell everyone." Daniel held her close, his mind burning with dread. Maybe, or maybe his own fear will silence him. But one thing is certain, this won't stay hidden. The whispers will be Ohm shouts, and when the council hears, they'll come for us. Outside, faint voices already rose in the corridors, rumors spreading faster than fire. Words like forbidden, bloom, corruption carried through the halls. The colony had smelled blood, and Daniel knew the true confrontation had only just begun. Serak is marked. Will he betray them to the council or hide his own shame? Either way, danger is closing in. The hours after Serak's visit were heavy with silence. Lyra sat curled in the corner of the chamber, her cloak pulled tightly around her trembling form. Her eyes were red from crying, and her hands glowed faintly no matter how hard she pressed them against her chest. Daniel stayed close, pacing restlessly, his mind racing through every possibility. Would Serak tell the council? Would he keep quiet to save himself? Daniel wanted to believe fear would silence him, but he knew Serak's pride. Pride was louder than fear. By the next morning, the whispers in the colony had become louder, sharper. Everywhere Daniel went, he felt eyes following him. In the marketplace, merchants stopped speaking when he passed. Children stared at him with curiosity and fear. And in the training yard, warriors muttered to one another, casting cold glances in his direction. When he returned to the chamber that evening, Lyra was waiting for him, her face pale. "They know," she whispered. "I can hear it in their voices. They speak of the bloom as if it's already here." Daniel clenched his fists. "Then we face it. We don't hide anymore." Lyra shook her head violently, tears spilling down her cheeks. "If I show them, if they see what I've become, they'll kill me." But even as she spoke, a sudden pounding struck the chamber door. A deep voice boomed from outside. "Open by order of the council!" Daniel's blood turned cold. He glanced at Lyra, whose body shook with fear. The glow under her kin pulsed brighter, betraying her terror. The door hissed open, and 4 guards stormed inside, their cloaks sweeping across the floor. Behind them came Serak, his silver eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. His wrist was wrapped in bandages, hiding the faint glow beneath. But Daniel noticed the way Serak kept that arm tucked away from view. "There," Serak declared, pointing at Lyra. "She carries the forbidden bloom. She is the source of the corruption." Lyra gasped, stepping back against the wall. "No, please." The head guard raised his hand. "Show us." Daniel rushed in front of her, spreading his arms. "Leave her alone. She hasn't hurt anyone." Serak sneered. "Not yet, but she will. You saw it with your own eyes, the energy spreading like fire. If the bloom continues, she will consume us all." The guards advanced, their eyes cold and merciless. "Step aside, human." Daniel shook his head, his heart hammering in his chest. "No, if you take her, you'll kill her. I won't allow it." The head guard's voice grew darker. "Then you share her fate." At that moment, the glow inside Lyra surged. She cried out, clutching her chest, as light poured from her body. The chamber walls glowed blue, the air buzzing with strange energy. The guards froze in shock, shielding their eyes. "By the stars," one whispered. "It's true." Lyra collapsed to her knees, sobbing. "I can't stop it. It's growing too strong." The light spread further, crawling across the floor like rivers of fire. Serak stumbled back, his face twisted with both fear and rage. "Do you see now? She cannot be allowed to live." The guards raised their weapons. Daniel's heart screamed. He ran to Lyra, pulling her into his arms. "Don't fight it," he whispered. "Don't let them make you ashamed. You are not cursed." Her glowing eyes met his, filled with pain. Then what am I? Daniel held her tighter. Something new, something greater. The guards stepped forward, their blades gleaming, but before they could strike, the energy burst outward in a blinding wave. The chamber shook, the floor, or cracking beneath their feet. The guards were thrown back against the walls, their weapons clattering to the ground. When the light faded, everyone stared in silence. Lyra was standing tall now, her cloak in tatters, her body glowing faintly with streams of living energy. She was no longer trembling. She was radiant, powerful, terrifying. The guards crawled to their feet, fear in their eyes. One whispered, "She's evolved." Serak pointed at her with a trembling hand. "No, she's a monster. Kill her before it spreads." Lyra's lips trembled, her voice soft. "I never wanted this, but if you come for me, I will defend myself." The room filled with tension. The guards looked at one another, uncertainty in their faces. Some were afraid, others awed. Daniel stood at her side, his voice strong. "If you want to kill her, you'll have to go through me." The head guard's eyes hardened. "Then so be it." He raised his blade again. The others followed. Lyra's glow pulsed brighter, filling the room with light once more. Her power was no longer something she could hide, no longer something she could control. It was breaking free, and as the guards charged forward, the colony itself seemed to tremble under the weight of what she had become. The guards are ready to strike. Lyra is ready to unleash her full power. The colony stands at the edge of chaos. The chamber blazed with light as the guards charged. Lyra stood in the center, her cloak torn away, her body glowing with streams of living energy that pulsed like rivers under her skin. Daniel stood beside her, his fists clenched, ready to face death if it meant protecting her. The first guard swung his blade, but the weapon never touched her. The energy burst outward from Lyra's body, a shield of pure light knocking the warrior back. He crashed into the wall, his blade clattering across the stone floor. The others hesitated, fear writ in across their faces. They had come expecting to drag a trembling girl before the council. Instead, they were facing something entirely new, something more powerful than they had imagined. Serak's voice cut through the silence, shrill with fear and rage. "Do you see? She is the bloom, a corruption that will destroy us all." His silver eyes gleamed, his hand trembling as he pointed at her glowing form. "Strike her down before it spreads." But none of the guards moved. Their eyes darted between Lyra's radiant body and Serak's trembling voice. Doubt gnawed at them. Daniel stepped forward, his voice strong. "Look at her. Is she destroying you? Or protecting herself? She never asked for this. It was an accident, my accident, and yet you blame her." The head guard gritted his teeth. "Accident or not, the bloom is forbidden." Lyra's eyes filled with tears, though her body glowed brighter. She looked at Daniel, her voice trembling. "They'll never accept me, no matter what I do." Daniel's heart ached. He wanted to deny it, but deep inside he knew she was right. The colony feared change more than anything, and Lyra was change made flesh. Serak took a step closer, his bandaged wrist hidden beneath his cloak. "Don't listen to him," he hissed at the guards. "She's dangerous. I've seen her touch. It spreads. Do you want to be infected as I was?" The guards' eyes widened. They looked at Serak sharply, suspicion flashing in their gaze. "What do you mean?" one asked. Serak faltered, his jaw tightening. For a moment he had spoken too much. Daniel's eyes narrowed, and he stepped forward. "Show them, Serak. Show them your arm." Serak's face darkened. "No." But the guards pressed closer. "Remove the bandage," the head guard commanded. Serak hesitated, sweat beading on his brow. Finally, with a snarl, he ripped the cloth away. The faint glow shimmered across his wrist, the same forbidden light that burned inside Lyra. The chamber fell silent. "You see," Daniel said, his voice sharp. "He calls her cursed, but he carries the same mark, and yet he still lives." Serak's face twadayet. Stead with fury. It was her fault. She infected me. But the guard's doubt grew heavier. If the bloom could spread, then Serak was already one of them. To destroy Lyra would mean destroying him too. Lyra stepped forward, her glow gentle now, her voice soft but steady. This power, I never asked for it, I never wanted it. But maybe it isn't a curse. Maybe it's something new. Maybe it's the next step we all fear to take. Her words filled the chamber like a quiet storm. The guards looked uneasy, caught between fear and wonder. Daniel moved to her side, his voice calm but firm. You can kill her, and you can kill me. But this won't end here. The bloom is already inside your colony. Maybe it's inside all of you, waiting to awaken. Destroying her will not stop it. It will only blind you. The head guard's hands shook on his weapon. His eyes darted from Lyra's glowing form to Serak's trembling wrist. The choice weighed heavy in the air. Finally, he lowered his blade. The council must decide. Serak's voice cracked in outrage. No! If the council sees her, they'll know I carry it too. His fear betrayed him. In a desperate cry, he lunged at Lyra, his blade flashing. Time slowed. Daniel shouted, moving to protect her. But before he could reach her, Lyra's glow flared brighter than ever. A wave of pure energy exploded from her body, stopping Serak in mid-strike. His blade shattered, his body thrown violently across the chamber. He hit the wall and collapsed, his eyes wide with shock and terror. The guards fell silent. None dared move. Lyra stood tall, her body glowing like starlight, her eyes filled with both sorrow and strength. She looked at them, not with anger, but with quiet resolve. I will not run any more. I will not hide. If you wish to kill me, then do it now. But know this, you are destroying something you don't yet understand. The guards did not move. Their fear was heavy, but so was their awe. Daniel stepped to her side, his hand finding hers. His voice was steady. Whatever happens, we face it together. For the first time since the accident, Lyra did not cove.